Dear ACCJ members, following an intense time of U.S.-Japan trade friction that many members will recall vividly, the U.S. and Japan economic partnership in recent years has become one of the strongest U.S. bilateral partnerships. Today, we are entering uncharted waters in U.S.-Japan economic relations as the two governments focus on areas to make bilateral trade more free, fair, and reciprocal. With this as our backdrop, the board identified relevant and strong advocacy as a strategic focus area, with an emphasis on reinforcing the quality and agility of our advocacy efforts. To better enable and accelerate our advocacy efforts, the board also sought to ensure we gave greater voice to and connect the bottoms-up work of our committees with the CEOs of our member companies. Alongside the CEO Forum, we established the Fortune 500 CEO Advisory Council and the Small Company CEO Advisory Council earlier this year. By bringing our committees and CEOs to work together on vital issues, we are fostering closer engagement of committee leadership and senior leadership at member companies. This is strengthening the quality and agility of our advocacy efforts. These efforts to bring together our committees and our CEOs is already showing results. Earlier this summer, the Small Company CEO Advisory Council and the Taxation Committee identified an issue that has potential to have significant consequences on our small company members, the GILTI and transition tax, which were included in the 2017 U.S. Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Through their collaborative efforts, the ACCJ is now one of only a few organizations around the world that has identified this issue and drafted actionable recommendations to address it. Recognizing the need to act by presenting these recommendations to key policymakers, the ACCJ partnered with the Small Company CEO Advisory Council to carry out its first door knock in Washington, D.C., September 13th and 14th. In nearly 20 meetings with the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Department of the Treasury, Council Chair Harry Hill and Council Member Frank Packard represented Americans who own small businesses in Japan and abroad as they spoke to the reality of what these rules will mean for them and shared concrete recommendations to alleviate their impact. As a result of their efforts, the ACCJ is now working with the U.S. Treasury to further explore a possible remedy. This door knock is a superb example of chamber advocacy acting in its best form, quickly and effectively on behalf of our members. The achievement is best explained in an interview posted on the ACCJ website and our social media channels, in which Frank Packard shares how well the ACCJ delegation was received. Frank said, "There is a lot of interest in what we have to say, what our tax committee has to say. We have a seat at the table." Work is also ongoing in our other cross-cutting advocacy themes. In response to the rise of work-style reform on the government of Japan's agenda, the Chamber is once again playing an active role by sharing global best practices and presenting actionable recommendations on workforce productivity, a key advocacy theme across the Chamber. On September 19th, the Human Resource Management Committee published its viewpoint on the business case for marriage equality, which has gained the support of 4 other foreign chambers of commerce and is sparking debate through press coverage on this issue. The Fortune 500 CEO Advisory Council is also contributing to advocacy around workforce productivity and is set to release its recommendations on how Japan can continue to build upon the momentum created by the work-style reform legislation passed by the Japanese Diet this summer. Thanks to the expertise of our committees and the CEO councils, the ACCJ continues to play a critical and informative role through various mechanisms, including with Ambassador Haggerty, with visiting U.S. government officials, and importantly, through door knocks in Washington, D.C., and with Diet members in Tokyo. The strength and relevancy of our advocacy is driven by member involvement, from the nuts and bolts of researching and developing position papers, through extending insights and networks, to meeting with policymakers on topics of concerns. You are critical to this process. Given the various opportunities the current political and economic climate present, consider the example of our Small Company CEO Advisory Council to think of what difference you can bring to the Chamber's capabilities. I encourage you to get involved and support our efforts to be an important voice in this new era of the U.S.-Japan economic partnership. Please share your ideas with me. I look forward to hearing from all of you.